Here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to Hollywood Live. I've got a very special guest, as always. Today with me, I'm talking about the one and only Aspen Kennedy. He is star of the new inspirational film, The Forge. It comes out this week. Hello, how are you, Aspen?
Pretty good. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I really did enjoy the movie. I mean, it's very interesting because there seems to be all of well, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, but there are several faith-based movies out there, but they have so stepped up the game. I mean, these are like really well crafted,
Mhm.
stories that are told so well and with the faith-based audience and everybody
Yeah.
else included. Tell me about
Mhm.
why this has emerged all of a sudden.
I believe just the like you said, the level of excellence, but at the same time, there's been an increasing desire for people to see good stories. Sometimes people don't want to just be entertained, but we go to sit in the theaters or we watch a film to say, hey, I want to see myself. I want to feel like, okay, when I saw that scene, it made me think about something in my life. And people at the core of our hearts, we all want to see good things. I believe that's been the transformational part of people desiring to see good films.
Yeah, and you're probably right because there's been so much chaos and kind of just a regurgitation of the same thing. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden people like, give me a little something more than that. Tell me about your character. You play Isaiah Wright, a man kind
Yes.
of coming of age. Tell me about Isaiah.
Yeah, so Isaiah Wright, he's 19 and he's been abandoned by his father. And, he doesn't have a clear sense of direction for his life. However, he does have a praying mom and she doesn't relent in her prayers or her love towards him. But she understands that he needs to grow in character and responsibility. And she understands that she can't do that herself. So God answers her prayer. And as Isaiah is going to look for a job at a business, the business owner, he finds interest in him. He doesn't only give him an opportunity, but he also walks with him and teaches him biblical principles that changes his life for the better. So it's an amazing story.
And I want people to understand, and I don't want to give too much of the film away, but this is not a preachy kind of a film. It's not like you're
Yeah.
coming out and telling people, okay, this is what I believe in. And I mean, how do we get over that hump? Because you did in this movie, but what do you think?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I believe even from behind the scenes, just being on set, seeing everything that happened as far as like I tell everybody, like working with the Kendricks, the work came second. Like the long days, the 14-hour days, that was second in terms of like, hey, we had devotion on set every single day, 6 a.m. And that was a constant place of reverence to say, Lord, we need you to express yourself through us to tell this story because we don't want it to be cheesy. We don't want it to people to like, oh, versus like, hey, God, you created everybody and you can get the message that you want to their hearts. So if you move us out of the way, we make the room for you. We believe that it will be a powerful film, and that's been the case so far. And we've been really excited to hear the amazing feedback.
Right. Well, that's because it's really well done. But something else has
Yeah,
happened since this whole film came out.
yeah,
And let's see, and it's, let me just say what it is. So now all of a sudden we have an African American woman, African American East Asian woman running for the president of the United States. And black men among many groups, but black men all over the country are now forming these groups that are very similar to what we see in this movie. I know y'all
yeah,
didn't know this was going to happen.
yeah,
But oops, here
yeah,
we are.
yeah,
How about that? I mean, it's
mm,
not like it's not, I don't even know what you call that, divine order.
mhm,
But
yeah, yeah,
but there are these groups of men, or this group of men that come together. Not like I said, I don't want to give the movie away, but how important
yeah.
is for black men at this point in our
Mm.
history to be coming together on this level?
It's so important because in today's time, you see the violence and just the chaos in the world to the point where you can't just really blame the young generation versus to say, okay, what can I do about it? If I see somebody in need, am I taking the time to be intentional of saying, hey, let me make this person in front of me feel special. Let me not judge them, but say, hey, let me get to know them. Let me see if I can be of help, of assistance. And I
Mhm.
feel like everybody needs somebody. And just from the male perspective of saying, hey, God created us and gave us authority. He said we're going to be leaders. So how can we not only just lead ourselves or our family, but anybody who God allows to cross our paths, how can we pour into them and uplift them and encourage them? Because our words have life. Understand that we can affirm somebody and that can change the trajectory of their lives just to know, like, hey, what comes from my mouth can change somebody's future. We'll be so much mindful about the words that we share in conversation and speaking over people. So I believe as men, we have more authority than we believe that we have access to, but asking God to say, hey, can you show me that authority and help me be a good steward over it so I can be a blessing to your people, you know? And that's really important for men to understand that today.
It really is, and I mean, for a young man, you seem to have a really good grasp of that. This is
Yeah.
I love the trajectory that your career is having. You've actually, I'm just trying to think of Kirk Franklin's film, The Night Before
Yeah.
Christmas. That's where we saw you last.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
but you're walking the walk and talking the talk. I mean, you're
Yeah.
doing because you are a young Christian man. And
Yeah.
so many, I was just reading some articles, I think yesterday in the New York Times, about how younger people, church is not important to the younger
Mhm.
generation. Could you speak on that
Mhm.
a little bit? And is that really true?
See, I believe, especially when media is so powerful today, you have the imagery, you have the music, and a lot of times the influences of what people think they desire in terms of success is always measured in a worldly perspective versus understanding that, first and foremost, relationally, again, I don't wake myself up every single day. God wakes me up, and I can remember times personally where it's a thing where I needed God to come through. I didn't know what was next, but a simple prayer of like, all right, Lord, I've done everything that's in my control, but if you don't do this, I don't see no way. I don't see any other way of it being done. And God showing up immediately or specifically. So I'm just like, man, like who God has been to me, I want everybody. I don't want to keep that to myself. I want everybody to be able to tap into what's already been made available to them. And it's a thing, like you said, so many people are looking to the media to say, all right, manhood looks like, okay, I got to have all the women, all the cars, all the money, then I'm a man, versus like, no, those aren't the things, the materialistic things, the fleshly things, those aren't the things that build you up. Understanding that God gave you so much responsibility and dominion and authority, but to say as a man, I should be able to be a good steward over that. I should be able to love one woman. I should be able to, be a good example. I don't have to be a victim of my circumstances, even if I don't have my father, because I didn't have my father. And so it's just a thing where it's just like, man, God can be all the more who you want him to be and who you need him to be if you invite him into your heart. And I believe once people see that, like you said, not in a pushy way, but in a way that gains interest, like his word says, if
Mhm.
you exalt me, I will draw people to you. But when they come to you, you have to point them right back to him. So it's a thing where people may say, bro, you're in this movie, you're on this TV show, like, man, you taking off. I'm like, bro, this is God's orchestration, and it's been a graceful experience for me to experience it, but to know like, hey, my hands are here. I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, God has been he's been guiding my steps, like he says in this word. So I'm really grateful, and I want everybody to experience that. I don't want to keep that to myself.
Oh, aren't you special? You really are. You really are. Because that's what it's all about. It's like sharing the good news and
Yeah,
just sharing joy. I mean, we've lacked
yeah,
joy for so long, which is what I love about what our new president, I'm calling her the president already, because she exudes that kind of joy. And that's what we have been missing in this country, it seems like for a minute here. What's up next for you, Aspen? You got some other stuff coming?
yeah. Yeah, so I worked on a Western earlier this year. It's set in the 1800s. It's based on a true story. It's about the first historic cattle drive movement from Georgia to Florida. So it was a lot of horseback riding, cowboy, a lot of cattle driving. So it was really fun to go back in time, so to speak, to be in a history piece like that.
Wow, and are you roping in those horses and the cattle and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Full speed horses. I had to grow out the beard, the hair for literally 2 months. So it was really fun. So I
Oh
won't
my
look like Isaiah in the next film, but it comes out in 2025. It's called The Florida Wild.
Oh, wow, I'm absolutely loving what do you want to say in leaving our audience today? What do you wanna tell people about why they should go see The Forge?
It's truly The Forge is truly a film for everybody. You will laugh, you will cry, you will love your loved ones a little bit harder. You'll feel inspired to go pour into somebody else. But it's such a film that you'll understand that first and foremost, on the simple side of it, God is always with you. He's always watching, and He's willing and available to step into your life and change it for the better if we just simply lend Him our trust. So I believe so many people will be inspired to just start their own forges.
Mhm.
Forgive people, love people, be more intentional about the person that's in front of you, and I feel like, this film is for all generations and families. So I'm really excited for the world to see it.
You know what, I'm gonna predict right here, and we'll see what happens, but I think God
Yeah.
has something in store for you that's much bigger than the entertainment industry. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put that out
Yeah.
there, and you already know that. I don't have to
Yeah.
even tell you that. I know that's the truth.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, and
Thank you. This is really
congratulations.
refreshing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and continued success, and for everybody else out there, check it out, The Forge. It opens actually this week. Now, I think it opens in theaters nationwide, and then will we be seeing it'll be streaming somewhere, I know, because that's what happens
Yeah.
these days, but
Yeah.
it's still
I
be
know they're
theaters.
kicking it out pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think theater nationwide, August 23rd. I think it's going Latin America, August 29th, and then internationally somewhere in September. I don't have the exact dates, but it's going out into the world. So I'm excited.
oh, good for you and good for all the people who put this together. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Aspen Kennedy.
Thank you.
And to our audience out there, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting us for all these years because we've been doing this for a long time. And by the way, take care of yourself and somebody else. Have a good one. Terrific. Thank you. Now hold
Thank
on.
you.
Let me make,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm always